Hey guys, how's it going? I think it's like August 30th or something today. We are up north, and we're just starting to get cutted into some barley. Sorry about the windshield wiper, but I don't know, maybe we've done 40 acres or something. It's kind of nice to be able to cut something. This is a stinking short barley crop. Like, it's only to your knee, and that's being generous. It's like to your knee at the top of the plant, and then the barley always goes down, so it hangs halfway down as well. So we're cutting like nearly on the ground. I did roll the barley. If you remember, I did a video of rolling our barley this spring. So thankful that I did that. Get that windshield wiper out of your way. Mike, are you cutting in flex mode? I am not cutting in flex mode. I am still in rigid, trying to leave as much stubble out there as I can and still get the heads. Flex mode is an option if I need to, though. In these hills, there's some big hills up over here. 50 feet is not friendly. Not friendly at all. I have to like do this side of the hill and then I have to do this side of the hill. So, it's a bunch of messing around. We're actually making the combine work a little bit here. We're in the 90s for our horsepower. Mike, what's this stuff running? Well, I think it's running around 75 average bushel an acre, but it could be a little higher than that even. I'm not sure. I don't know yet because we're not done the field. I always take an average. You can't go through a low spot and see 150 bushel and be like, oh yeah, it's going 150 bushel. Because let's be honest, it's probably only doing like 10 or 20 on the top of the hills because some of the hills are blown, like the topsoil is blown off. But we're full here, so we are going to go and dump. I'm a little short-staffed up here. Ashtyn, she'll be on her way up here. I think she had a doc appointment. After all, she is pregnant, so she's got to go for checkups every so often. And Travis is hauling the barley right to the terminal. So he just took off with a load. Travis is my brother-in-law. See how I have trouble in these hills? Let me move this windshield wiper again. See how I missed a bunch of heads there? And it doesn't help that it's super short. Like, this is a really short barley crop. I'm actually surprised how short it is, to be honest with you, with the amount of rain that I thought that it had a decent amount of rain. Yes, we're still dry. They would still consider themselves quite dry up here. But compared to where we are coming out of the Kalahari Desert back there, and that's saying the Kalahari Desert is like an oasis to where we are back home. But yeah. So I do have the John Deere triple hooked to the grain cart. A little overkill, but so there is my flex mode. I did a little bit there in flex mode, and as you can see, you take all the straw, and I would rather not do that. I don't have to. So as I was saying, I was going to put my 724 Fendt Gen 6 on the grain cart because it's only a 1,000 bushel grain cart. But I might need that on the bagger. I was going to put Ernie on the bagger with the Omass 1105, but I might need Ernie on the grain auger. So, and I'm way too close here. Forget how long that auger is sometimes. The auger is flirting with 40 feet. It's a very long auger. So on the Fendt, you have 4 unload speed settings. We are going at full jam. You can adjust the settings by these 2 buttons here. It needs to be on the joystick. I think on the new ones they might be putting them on the joystick. So full jam is like around 6 bushels per second is our unload speed. And just like that, that's it. We are not going very fast, but we're doing about 2 bushel an acre. 2 bushel an acre. 2 miles per hour. I'm used to saying 2 bushel an acre because that's what everything's going back home. Up here it's a little bit better than that. We praise the Lord for that. Pay attention here. I'm always got to be on this header or I'll kind of go up and over those heads. So, I have plugged the back end of this thing 3 times in this little bit that I've done. I tried running without my blades in, like my stationary knives, and that did not last very long. I just plugged up right away. So I put my stationaries in halfway, and I was okay until I got down to the low spots, and then I plugged up. And then as I was digging out the barley, and kind of hating my life a little bit because I realized how itchy barley was. Yeah, I forgot about that. But anyways, I put my stationary knives in all the way, and I've only plugged 1 time since, so I'm pretty happy about that. Also, if you're not familiar, the fence do not turn sharp, so you got to kind of do a hook in order to get lined back up. Almost need 3 headland passes, which would make 150 feet to get the thing turned around. If you're wondering what happened here, is compaction. It got drove on by the air drill, and you can see my tracks right here. It was wetter seed in this up here, and compaction is a real thing. That windshield wiper out of your way. Again, you always want to watch your choppers. That's all you do all day long. Don't forget this side. Oh, sorry about that. It's hard to do everything at one time. I'm still working on the sample, so don't judge me. I've never cut barley before. Heck, I've never even grown it. So, still trying to tweak and play with the sample. You're always doing that for, heck, I don't even know if you ever stop tweaking with your sample. Alright, so we just loaded up the grain cart and I put a load on the combine. I was going to run for the other Super Bee, but I do believe that Travis is nearly here, so I was just wait for him. Then he can dump all this, and then he's just going to turn and burn and head back to the terminal. And like literally 4 minutes later, there's Travis. I was just going to walk up to the top of the grain tank here. I was going to show you guys what the barley looked like. Man, I almost fell off here. See if I can zoom in on this just a little. The odd green one. So I'm told that dry for barley is a 14.8. Well, he just took that load in and it was 16.9, and I'm like, holy crap, I must have found some tough stuff somewhere. So anyway, I think we got it cleaned up, not bad, about as good as we're gonna get. I don't know, I think it looks okay. This is feed barley, but also could be sold as malt barley, because it's, I think Fraser's the variety of it. But believe me, it's not gonna go malt, it's gonna go feed. All right, I gotta load them. And we're dumping. So we're hoping that this load is gonna be drier. It should be a whole heck of a lot drier. I think I was down in a couple low spots there on that first load. But I guess not. If you're wondering, no, they're gonna dock me. So it's gonna cost me money for that one tough load that I dropped off. And if this one is tough, then they'll probably shut us off and be like, nope, no more barley for you till you can guarantee you it's dry type deals. So here's hoping that this one's gonna be dry. Now we're gonna get back at her. Travis looks good in that John Deere tractor, doesn't he? He hates it, but he looks good. You look good, Travis. He's a case guy. Just coming into the tank. This stuff is just barely dry enough. I have to go around quite a bit of the green, as you can see. So we're leaving lots of sloughs. We'll either come back for those and straight cut them in like a month, or we might bring a swather out here and knock them down, and then we can take it off a lot quicker. Due to it keeps raining up here, the stuff that is green, it's really holding it green a whole heck of a lot longer than it should. I'm not used to that, right? Because I'm used to lots of sun and heat, and after a few days or a week, it's just cooked right down. You just go out and grab it. But this stuff's holding green a lot longer, so it's lots of learning curves. So either, yes, you could desiccate it, spray it, but then you have to wait for that to dry down. So if you want to get out here quick, probably bring a swather, knock it down, and then move on. There is definitely a reason why guys swath out here. It's to speed up harvest. Alright, let's talk a little bit about barley. I don't know much about barley. I've never grown it before, so it's a bit of a learning curve. I'm a wheat, durum, lentils, chickpeas, canola kind of guy. And even the canola, I'm still only got a few years under my belt with that stuff. Why? Because we're just in a different, the main farm is in a totally different environmental area. I know the crops that we can grow there well. So, barley. You got your feed variety, and then you got your malt varieties, okay? You got your two varieties. So malt, hence aka beer, goes for beer. The malters, they're kind of fussy, and I understand why. They like typically 1, 2, maybe 3 varieties, and this is not one of them. They like, I think it's Metcalf. Don't hold. I think Metcalf and Synergy and Copeland. I think. Don't quote me on any of those. I'm literally just pulling those out of the cobwebs. This is Fraser. So the 3 that I just listed, those are what the malters typically like to choose. But downside is a malt variety is a lower yielding variety typically. This is a feed variety, but it's also a malt variety, so it's kind of a hybrid. So it's kind of middle of the road. And then you just got your traditional feed varieties. They're the highest yielding. Okay. Now, if your barley, say, doesn't go for malt, it's going to go for feed. That's just what it is. If it doesn't go for malt, it's going for feed. There's only two uses to my knowledge for barley. It's malt, beer, aka beer, or feed, like the cattle market, the hog market, whatever it might be. So, what do you choose now? Do you choose a malt variety that's a lower yielding variety and try and get malt? Malt isn't something that you can obtain every year, at least not to my knowledge. It's hard to get. The malters are fussy. You can't have a lot of rain on it. You can't have too much protein. I think something like that. Anyway, I'm a little bit stretching what my knowledge here about barley a little bit. And anyway, it's harder to get. So do you just choose a feed variety over here? Because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It can get some rain on it. Why? Because it's feed. It can get a little mildew. Why? Because it's feed. Obviously, you still got to have half decent feed, but you know what I mean. Very little stress to go along with it. So that is the two varieties of barley. This is kind of a hybrid, so it's all sold as feed already, but it is a malting variety for if a malter did need it or want it or something, so you can still test it. So I typically like the mill ground. That way I'm like, hey, I'm gonna grow feed, but if it happened to work out that it did make malt, awesome. But if not, I'm still banking on feed. So that's a little bit that I know about barley, which isn't very much. All right, here's the sample. Sorry about the wind, but it is windy. Couple greens in there. Last load was actually 15.5. I was like, holy crap, I thought it'd be dry by now. Remember, dry is 14.8. Sorry about that, it's just too dang windy outside. So yeah, that's unfortunate. We have already another load here, just about for a semi, not quite, but might just have to load up the third one and call it here. I don't have any air. Means I don't have any bins with air. Heck, I don't even have any bins. I just got bags. Yes, you can put tough barley in a bag. I think you can put all the way up to 20. We've put 20% wheat in a bag before, and it's held fine. But it does me no good putting it in a bag or a bin tough, because then what I'm going to do with it? It's not going to just sit there and dry. You have to dry it. Either you have to A, dry it, or B, you have to put it in a bin that has airflow with a fan, and then maybe you can knock a couple points down. But I don't have either. So we might have to wait for the weather to dry this out for us. Up here, that is a dangerous proposition. Wow, Mike, surely you could just put it in a bag and then go find a bin, or rent a dryer, or pay someone to custom dry or something. Yeah, I could definitely do that, and that is on the table, but it's still only August. If this was October, we would be stuffing it in a bag. It doesn't matter what's coming out of there, 28%, it's going in a bag. Your urgency, the harvest urgency, is dependent on the month that you're in. So strange to be cutting around trees. Travis is just over here in the cart, and he probably wants a little bit of a top off so that way he can turn and burn with the semi and get going. That's my guess. All right, he's just coming around. We got a rocker out here. We gotta get straightened out. put my bubble on the tractor, the GPS bubble. I took it off and I need to put it back on so that way Travis has GPS in there. Makes it easier. Well, guys, I just want to say thanks for hanging out while we're cutting a little bit of barley. Probably be some more videos to come, but on this note, we're going to keep chugging and I'm going to let you guys go. And that's it. Thank you, good sir. And I will talk to you guys later.